Good evening and welcome to River Rock Restaurant and Marina Bar and Brick outside in the tent tonight. A pretty nice night to be outside, all things considered that we're basically in the middle of November. But we're here again for another week of the Varsity Link Coaches Corner here on the Shore Sports Network. Bob Adders alongside Ed Sarluca. It's playoff time for sure. We're in the thick of it. Week 11 is upon us. It's the semifinals of the public school bracket, the quarterfinals of the non-public brackets. And as I say every week, we have a ton to talk about, and that's no different this week. If anything, we got more to talk about than usual. 12 Shore Conference teams still left in the postseason, and one of those teams will be our featured guest tonight. It's the Blue Devils of Shore Regional High School, and we'll talk to those guys coming up in about 15 minutes. Head coach Mark Costantino and two of their senior captains, Jamie Mizako and Andrew Decker, will be on, talk all things Blue Devils, preview their upcoming playoff game this Friday night against Woodstown in the South Jersey Group 1 playoffs. With that, I turn to you, Ed. Unfortunately, I'll start off with this.
We got a lot of off the field information.
I was saying to these guys before we came on, they're a breath of fresh air and a sight for sore eyes. We could talk some football because all I've done today is, write football adjacent stuff, and it's all been negative. So we have to get to that stuff first. The major news, not just around the Shore but around the state, is Wall High School has canceled its upcoming playoff game that was scheduled for this Friday night. The Crimson Knights were set to host Delsea in the South Jersey Group 3 semifinals, and that game is canceled amid hazing allegations involving members of the Wall High School football team. Not a ton of details out. Of course, anything involving minors or juveniles, there's not going to be any official comment. But what we know is all on the website, so head to shoresportsnetwork.com. We have multiple stories up surrounding that. But Wall, which was number 5 in the Shore Sports Network top 10, the number 2 seed in that bracket, that game is canceled. Delsea will move on to the championship game via forfeit, officially be 11-0. And Wall still has a Thanksgiving Day game scheduled against Manasquan. We do not know the status of that game as of now, but would not be surprised to see that game canceled as well. Just a shocking situation that's developed over these last couple of days. A sad one, certainly. You feel for those students that were involved, allegedly, and were on the receiving end of the hazing and bullying. And, for the kids on the team that weren't involved, it's a horrible way to have your season come to an end, especially for the seniors. And, again, we don't know any of the names, anybody that's involved, but it's just a bad situation all around.
Yeah, the first thing I would like to mention is that, there's a lot of rumors out there. There's a lot of, information on Twitter and all these social media posts, is to caution our listeners to, not believe everything you see or read. The police are involved. They're investigating. And until, something turns up, that is very accurate and they make a comment about it, I would caution our listeners to just sit back, relax. I feel it's very unfortunate for the Wall program, but don't accuse or don't, create any guilty situations yet until the investigation is over.
Well, speaking of Twitter, and we know what kind of platform that could be at times, good and bad. But I read something earlier. It said you don't always have to have a take on something right away. You can wait and see how it develops.
Right.
And in this case, a potential criminal investigation, certainly that is going to be how we play it. And, we hope for the best just for everyone involved. That wasn't the only thing that came down the pipe today. Asbury Park has relieved their second-year head coach, Nick Famularo, of his duties effective immediately. So that was another bit of news that came down unexpectedly today. No reason was given by the district for that move. They'll have an interim head coach that will take over. They have one game left, their Thanksgiving Day game against Neptune. The Blue Bishops were eliminated in the first round of the South Jersey Group 1 playoffs, lost 41-14 to Pennsgrove. So just another thing, coming down the pipe. Who is that? That will be a lot of stuff going on. Robert Ward, who's been a long-time assistant there, he will be the interim head coach for their final game. So Famularo was in his second season, a former standout for the Blue Bishops, out as head coach after barely not even 2 seasons. So we'll get that news out of the way, and we'll move on to the regular scheduled football talk. And as I mentioned in the intro, we're on to week 11. 12 teams left in the Shore Conference, in the NJSIAA state playoffs. We started 25. We're down to 12. And let's run through some of those games. What stood out to you as the playoff game that caught your eye when all these scores were coming in over the weekend?
Well, I think one of the major upsets was Toms River North, who, was aided by the forfeit against Donovan Catholic
Certainly.
that they received just to get themselves into the playoff. They probably would have made it, but I don't know if they would have gotten any home games without that forfeit win. And, hey, you have to give Dave Ozowitz, all the credit in the world and his staff for keeping their season together. After starting out, were they 0-3?
They were 0. I believe they were 0-4 before
before the
forfeit,
and then have put together 5 wins in a row, counting that forfeit. And they've got a good shot against a team, Edison, who, first of all, that South Jersey Group 5 was completely turned upside down with the 1 seed and the 2 seed both getting beat. North came in as the 3 seed, which means that they could be home right through to the finals.
They could be. Yeah, that 1 seed, that was Lenape, the 8 seed, knocking off Washington Township, which Lenape has done
in overtime.
They have multiple times over the last few seasons. And that game you were referring with Edison, Edison knocked off Manalapan 23-20 in overtime after being down 13-0 at the half. So the Eagles come into Gernert Field on Friday night, take on the Mariners. You mentioned 28-14 win over East Brunswick. I had some people tell me on Twitter before the game, a lot of the East Brunswick parents, and East Brunswick came in 8-1. We're complaining, hey, Tom's River shouldn't have a home game. And I said, hold up. If East Brunswick played the schedule had, they wouldn't be 8-1 either. So the Mariners, they hold seed there. Micah Ford, their sophomore quarterback, 200 yards rushing, a couple touchdowns, threw for $138 and the touchdown. How about that? A Hail Mary, last play of the first half, they throw it up, hits off about 47 hands, and Jeremiah Pruitt, their sophomore receiver, catches it in the end zone to give them a 2-score lead, and on they go. Another one that kind of came down to that really did come down to the wire was in Central Jersey Group 4, and that was Colts Neck, a 17-14 win over Timber Creek on Saturday. And how about Christian Monteforte, the senior kicker for Colts Neck? He said after the game in an interview that he lost his mom. His mom passed away the week before, and he goes out and has a moment like that he'll never forget, a game-winning 25-yard field goal to send the Cougars into the semifinals. Their first playoff win in 8 seasons. They'll take the long drive down south, take on top seed of Winslow Township on Saturday. But what a moment for Monteforte, playing with a heavy heart and delivering for his team in a huge way.
Yeah, that was a weird game. I watched it on the internet, on the stream, and it was basically a throwing team in Timber Creek versus the running of Colts Neck. It was completely 2 different offenses. And Colts Neck hung in, after, a not so good first half, and took the lead, and then hung on, and the winning field goal by Montefiore. Hey, it's what Cinderella stories are made of.
And that's and Colts Neck, the higher seed there. We won't mention that, but you mentioned Timber Creek, Donovan Leary, their quarterback, heading off to Illinois.
Right.
8 years of Leary's playing quarterback at Timber Creek. His older brother Devin is the quarterback at North Carolina State, and you're right. You said Donovan threw for about 338 and a couple TDs. So it was a story of 2 different offenses there. We'll run down the list completely here. Donovan Catholic, no problem with Notre Dame, 48-8. Another big game for Jalen Butler and Nunez Bukla on the ground. But the task gets a bit
reward.
tougher.
They got a reward.
This Saturday, they head up to Oradell on Saturday afternoon, take on number 1 ranked Bergen Catholic, undefeated, number 1 team in the state. Depending on what poll you look at, the number 5 or 6 in the country. So, they played a good schedule, a really good schedule, certainly in that American division. But this is another level of competition. So, we'll see what the Griffins can do. They're the clear, heavy underdog.
One thing we know is that Dan Curcione, the head man at Donovan Catholic, will have his team ready to play this team. They're not going up there just to show up and see what happens. It's happened before where teams, RBC, have gone up north and won football games against these so-called super teams. Now, Bergen Catholic, of course, a good team. They'll play it in the afternoon. No lights up there at Bergen Catholic. And 1 o'clock Saturday, and I'm telling you, Donovan Catholic will be ready to play a good football game.
I don't doubt that. It's just, look,
man for man.
Let's call it what it is. If Donovan wins that game, that's the shot. That is the upset of the whole season. It has to be.
Of the state, probably.
It has to be. How could you not call it that? And that's no discredit to Donovan. That's just how good Bergen Catholic is. I mean, geez, 10-0 playing that schedule they play. So big test for the Griffins on Saturday, and certainly we wish them luck. It's that time of the season where we don't have anyone playing each other, so we can go a little homer and root for our home team. So
I'll go out in front and tell you. I think you saw my picks today. I picked Donovan
you did.
Catholic.
You texted me those.
My boy.
Well, look, that's because we got to catch up to Harmon. He's way in front of us, so
he's got only a 3-game lead.
That's a 3-game lead at this point. It might as well be 10. In that same bracket, Seton Hall Prep 49-0 over St. John Vianney. In Central 5, Williamstown 34-20, eliminating Southern from the playoffs. We mentioned Tom's North and Manalapan. North 2, Group 4. I mean, Middletown South was in a dogfight with North Hunterdon, and Middletown South, the number 2 seed, was 20-20 at one point. They're actually losing 20-14 going the fourth quarter. Scored some quick touchdowns, 3 touchdowns altogether in that final quarter. Dan Premiano over 180 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, and the Eagles move on with a 34-20 victory. They'll play host to Sayreville this Friday night at the Swamp. Sayreville 18-0 over Middletown North. So 2 really good traditional programs squaring off with a shot in the championship game on the line.
Yeah, Middletown South with the higher seed, the number 2 seed. That's why those seeds are so important. Those early season victories that get you higher seeds, so important to get home games. And they'll have 2 of them. They've already put 1 away. And Middletown South, nothing fancy on the scoreboard all year, but W's.
And I will say for this game, defense has carried the Eagles all season, and they have 34 points, which obviously they're not going to like, or they have 20 points, but their offense came in, bailed them out when they needed to, putting 34 up on the board and helping them advance. We mentioned Colts Neck with the win over Timber Creek, that same bracket. Clearview defeated Lacey 34-14, knocking the Lions out.
Kind of disappointed in that loss.
Yeah, Lacey's kind of been that Jekyll and Hyde team. When they've been good, they looked really good, and they've had some questionable losses. So they end, unfortunately, on a low note.
5-4.
South Jersey Group 4, a couple lopsided losses. Millville, took Tom's over South behind the woodshed, 58-0. That's a tremendous Millville team, which is the heavy favorite to win that bracket, which is still a really good bracket, but that's how good Millville is. Pennsauken 56-21 over Central. The Golden Eagles just couldn't hang there with the Indians, and a resounding win for Pennsauken. The lone victor in that bracket, Long Branch, 50-12 over Freehold. It's a game I was at on Saturday afternoon in Percett Field. The Green Wave move on. Keep head coach Danny George's final season going. They do have the Thanksgiving Day game against Red Bank, but a really nice game for the Green Wave. That's a Freehold team they played during the regular season. 29-14 win. This time, no contest. Freehold a little banged up. Kamor Gill, nursing an injury. Tyler Ochowski actually got hurt during the game, their standout linebacker, but it really didn't matter because Long Branch, they were airing it out. Christian Rodriguez, 225 and 3 touchdowns. They blocked a punt for a touchdown. They ran for 3 touchdowns. Luke Tracy had a great game defensively with 3 sacks. They did a little bit of everything, and they come in hot going on the road. From one boardwalk to another, they go down to Ocean City on Friday night, play in front of that big, bright Ferris wheel against an undefeated Red Raiders team. That's going to be a tough one for Long Branch.
Yeah, they don't have to bother bringing their bathing suits, right?
not
it can
that,
be cold and
not
rainy
that kind
Friday
of beach
night.
Day.
But anyway, the 3 winners in there, I just wanted to mention. Long Branch with 50 points, Millville with 58, Pennsauken with 56.
They took all the highlights.
Little offense.
They took all the highlights. Central Jersey Group 3, how about Rumson? 37-0 over Oakcrest. And Oakcrest came in with a losing record, but I don't care who you play. If you give up 5 yards of total offense and -7 rushing yards and 0 first downs, man, that's a heck of a performance. So Rumson and that defense, they move on with the huge victory. Obviously a one-sided one. Colin Kennedy, 3 total touchdowns. They really spread it out offensively. It's more about what the defense did and did not let up, and they go on to the semifinals against Burlington Township.
When the playoffs come around, Rumson always seems to turn it up defensively.
Certainly.
And just do not give up many points at all, if any. And that's why they've won so many championships in the last 10 years.
They do. Manasquan, 39-7 victory over a good Homedale team on Saturday. It was Brett Patton and Cole Kozlowski all day. Brett Patton, their junior quarterback, he had 5 total touchdowns, threw for 4, ran for another. Threw 6 total touchdowns, threw for 5, ran for another. 4 touchdown passes to Cole Kozlowski and their senior wideout. 5 catches, $185, 4 TDs. It's a pretty good game. It's an odd stat line for a Manasquan team, but we know their offense is a little bit different this season.
I just would not want to play Manasquan right now at this part of the season. I think they're getting better every week, and like you said, a possible matchup with Rumson in the finals of that bracket there could be a classic defense versus offensive football game.
That could be a good one. We hope for Manasquan, though. To get there, they'll have to go on the road
Yes.
this Saturday, head west to Camden and take down Woodrow Wilson, a team that for the last 5-7 years has been in every season, a team that our shore teams have seen coming down in the playoffs. So that'll be a test. Raritan, the number 1 seed in Central Jersey Group 2, 30-6 over Barnegat. Barnegat came right down the field. I think it was a 99-yard scoring drive, 6-0, and you're saying, okay,
Bibbins,
the Bengals. Right? And that was it. Raritan ended up having 3 different 100-yard rushers, Kieran Falzone, Joe Campanella, Dan Calicari, all over 100, and they move on to the semifinals. They'll host Hillside Friday night. Point Borough, second time against Monmouth Regional this side. Wasn't as lopsided as the regular season meeting, but a 34-14 victory for the Panthers. They move to 8-1. And they will host New Providence on Friday night in the semifinals there.
Yeah, another top-seeded team who will play right through the finals at home as long as they keep winning.
And Salem, put a hurting on Keyport, 51-0 in that Central as a Group 1 bracket. We mentioned the Asbury loss, and the team that we'll get to in just a couple minutes, Shore, 42-8 win over Burlington City to keep their great season going and advance to the semifinals. I do want to touch on a couple real quick before we take a break of those regional crossover games, which used to be called the consolation games. Again, those obviously take a back seat big time to the playoff games. We had some notable performances. Lakewood 32-22 over Metuchen. The Pioneers get their first win of the season, so congratulations to those guys. Been a tough year over there. Numbers are a struggle, but their head coach, L.J. Clark, always does good work, and good for the Pioneers to get a win. They'll have another game this Friday to try to get to 2. Keensburg 28-21 over Roselle. 3 straight winning seasons for the Titans. So again, they've done a good job over there. Marlboro 28-20 over Brick. They moved to 6-3. The Mustangs clinched their first winning season since 1999. We had those guys on the show earlier this season, and just a great job to. They had a couple tough losses at key spots, and they were able to not let that derail their season completely. And then finally, Red Bank won 34-28 over Brick Memorial. But how about Connor Dietz, their sophomore quarterback, broke Brick Memorial's single-season scoring record that went all the way back to 1990. Mike Davie, a guy you know well. A
guy that I coached and tragically passed away about a month ago.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Mike was a tremendous back for Brick Memorial. And like I said, I had the pleasure of coaching Mike. And, that was a tough situation for Brick Memorial to deal with, but Dietz, who was over 200 yards, he just has had a tremendous sophomore year. Put him and Micah Ford as sophomore quarterbacks. I'll tell you, it's good. A lot to look forward to for those two teams.
And Dietz, I believe, 70 passing yards away from 1,000 rushing, 1,000 passing on the season. They have one final game, a consolation game Thursday night against Neptune. So he's got a decent chance to do
that. He does.
Obviously, he rushes more than he passes in that hybrid triple option, but got a good chance regardless of what happens. He's had a phenomenal season. Matawan, Point Beach, Manchester, Ocean, all end their seasons on victories as well. So that'll do it for Week 10 in the books. We'll turn the page to Week 11. When we come back, we'll talk to our guys from Shore Regional. It'll be Mark Constantino and Andrew Decker here on the Varsity Link Coach's Corner on the Shore Sports. Shore Sports Network back here at River Rock Restaurant and Marina Bar. It's the Week 11 Varsity Link Coach's Corner. Tonight's episode and all episodes this season brought to you by Varsity Link. It's the Athlete's social media network, the first social media platform designed as a recruitment tool to help enhance an athlete's opportunity and a coach's recruitment process. So for more information, go to www.varsitylink.com. Download the Varsity Link app on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. One of the most successful, I was writing the promo for this, and I started writing one of the most successful small school programs in the Shore Conference. I stopped myself. I said, no, one of the most successful programs in the Shore Conference, regardless of group size. And those are our guests tonight. And right now, delighted to be joined by Shore Regional head coach Mark Constantino and one of their senior captains, Andrew Decker. And Kaz, first of all, thanks a lot for taking the drive down and hanging out with us, talking football. But, yeah, you guys are one of the most successful programs year in and year out. And this has been a season where you guys graduated a ton of really good seniors last year. And it was one of those, okay, what's Shore going to look like coming in? And through 9 weeks, we see the kind of team you guys are, 7-2, and hosting a playoff semifinal game this Friday night. So you got to be really happy with the way some of these new pieces have integrated and the way some of your senior stars have really stepped up.
Thank you. They've done a tremendous job. We knew we were going to be a young team. We had some great senior players, and we're going to try and build it around them. So, you come to camp, and you just kind of every day we were like, well, let's see. We had to kind of – our numbers are low, but they're a tremendous team. So that's why they're tough. We don't back down to anybody. And we hit all game. That's all I ask. Yes, if you don't hit, you don't play. So every kid in this team hits.
Very simple philosophy.
Just go after on the field.
Kaz, 30th year. I feel like maybe I should bring your wife up here before I ask you this question. But 30 years, what keeps you going?
What, football-wise?
Yeah, football. Well, of course.
35 years of coaching, 30 years.
As the head man.
When I leave here, I'm going to go work on tomorrow's practice plans. I'm going to watch more film. I'll get up tomorrow 4 or 5 in the morning. I get up 3 in the morning. I just leave. I start watching film. That's what I do.
That's what you do.
That's what I do. So it's not even a matter of what keeps me going. It's what I do.
Well, let me run through some statistics. Statistics are what they are. But 7-2 this year, another outstanding season. 7 championships. 7. 12 times in the finals. 25 playoff appearances with an overall record of 26-17. The records speak for themselves. A lot of good kids along the way.
Well, that's overall the team. Bob Rolek won one. Nick Camrano. Bob won 2. Nick won 1. I've been fortunate to win 4. Hopefully 5 this year. But great kids. Tremendous. Best place to coach in the state. Shore Regional. You go there, it's magical. The whole school is a great place. And I like when we play bigger schools and they kind of underrate us. We show up with like 33 kids, and then we kick their butt. And it's like, let's get on the bus and have a good summer, and we leave. That's it. So,
One more question. You look pretty good in the tuxedo.
On my daughter's wedding?
Yeah.
Thank you, yeah.
I saw the pictures on the internet.
Thank you.
That was a big day for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, she married a great guy. Her husband, Rob, he pitched for Rutgers and was in the Red Sox organization. I'm a Yankee fan. I forgive him. But they're very happy, and they're working on their first child right now.
Oh.
Look, you get to you win.
Whoa!
You win a.
Well, not right
now.
Was
News.
It's a family program.
I don't want to know about it, but they're
Look, I get you.
You win a sectional title. You're playing that regional championship game. You got to bust the tuxedo out again, right?
No, I'm not going to rent it again. God, no. I can't. All right, I'm a short.
We'll bring some levity to this program. We'll talk to Andrew now. Andrew, I get back week 1. You lose to Point Borough 34-20. We see what kind of team they are. They're in a team that's 8-1, playing in a semifinal game. And I know it's early at that point, but next week you guys come back. Really a slugfest with Asbury Park. 21-20 comes down to a 2-point conversion late in the game. Can you look back now and see that was a huge turning point in your season to get that one and that started the winning streak? You guys won 6 games in a row.
Yeah, I think that was probably the turning point, most important part of the season. Because Point Borough, everyone was a little sad. We thought we could beat them. Couldn't come out with the win, but we were still a young team. Made a ton of mistakes and knew if we probably played them a little later in the season, may have been something different. And then Asbury came. We knew it was going to be another tough game. It always is against them. They always play their best against us. So coming out with that win, it meant a lot. especially because we had some young guys on our team who needed to feel what a win felt like. And then for our seniors, we had a bunch of guys we had a bunch of seniors, but not many of them even myself, didn't really have varsity experience yet. So that first win definitely felt good, and the way that it happened was crazy. So it's definitely a good experience.
And you answered a little bit of that, but for such a young team, when you're trying to build, character and identity just as a group, when you have a win like that, like how much does that just galvanize the whole team, bring everyone together, and like you said, just kind of foster that belief of what you guys can accomplish?
Yeah, it definitely had a huge impact on us because our whole team after that, we came together and we realized, we could hang with anyone because it made us realize, we're never going to back down. I know we had the ball with 4 minutes left, threw a pick, and then we had to go on defense, and if they score, they get a field goal, game's over. But we stopped them, came with clutch, drive down. We were on our 10-yard line or something. Drive down with a minute left and scored. So the one thing, I think the main thing that we just took from that, everyone on this team's tough, we're resilient, and we're never going to be the bigger team physically, but we're always going to be there and always going to hang in the game.
And certainly so. And as we mentioned after that loss, it was 6 straight wins for the Blue Devils, and that was really the tale of what their season has been so far. Certainly more to right, you guys hope. But, Kaz, to shake that off against a team that we see now is really good, one of the best in the shore, and then just rattle off 6 straight. What did that tell you about a team that, again, was young and kind of had to find its way?
We knew the potential they had. We had a tough opening game, and when I talked to the Point Borough coach before the season, he said, look, maybe we'll move this game early, and I was thinking about it because I was going to play Penns Grove in one of those bowl games down there.
Yeah.
And I said, let's play them early. I know they're going to be good before they get the triple option going, and we're young, and then we'll get a bye, and it worked out. But they played so tough in that game. I was like, we're going to be good. And then we came back. We found a way. We didn't play well at times, but we beat Asbury. And I knew all along. We had the ball on like the 25 with 2.5 minutes. I said to my coach, if we score, we're going for 2. We got to win this game. We're going to turn this season around right now. And we scored. And then I said, I'm giving the ball to Jamie. He's going to run behind the mirror, and that's just the way it's going to be, and we're going to win. And he dragged on the 4th down. Well, on the play we scored, we called the rollout to the right, and Jamie ran left and dragged like 4 guys into the end zone.
Is that one of those plays where you go, no, okay, yeah, keep going?
I don't say anything. I'm 35 yards away. Make me look good.
He does that quite often this
Yes,
season.
he does. But that game, like Andrews had a fantastic year. And when he was younger, we didn't know. He works hard. Even last year, he didn't play a lot. But all these seniors, they buy into the program, and they're all contributing. And they're all doing a fantastic job. And so they're a real, like for the younger guys, they're role models. And our practices are just clicking, and we're going.
Andrew, how does Jamie Mizako compliment you on defense?
I think he compliments me well. You see him run on offense. He could run anywhere. He's linebacker, but he's not just a middle linebacker. He's everywhere. When they're running outside, he catches up to me. Sometimes he'll even beat me there. So he compliments everyone well because he makes plays all around the field. He has picks on the year, fumble recovery. So
so do you, though.
Yeah.
We're talking about you right now. You two lead the team in tackles, right?
Yep.
Just about. And you're still playing inside, right?
I play outside.
Outside,
Yep.
okay, outside. But, you and Jamie, are the leaders of that defense.
Yep.
Tell us about some of you guys up front.
I think we're strong up front because, like I said before, we don't have the biggest front 4 linebackers, but we've all come together. We play tough and we really hit hard. So we'll stick the kid up, and then everyone else we all rally to the ball. So I think just the culture that Kaz has built here for the last 30 years. Even if you have the biggest kids, if you don't hit, you're not going to play. So that's really we've really bought into that.
Yeah, Kaz, still playing that 4-4, right?
We're 4-4, 3-4.
Yep.
We're multiple. But we start out in a 4-4. Last game, we came out in our 50 package, and then the second half, we went to our 4-4 package. So we like to be a little more multiple because opponents' abilities to throw the ball. But, if I could sit in a 4-4, I would.
Why not? You guys have allowed a total of 108 points all year, and you go back and, 34 to Point Borough, which is the highest scoring offense in the shore. And then, like every week, 20 to Asbury, and then you go 8, 7, 3, a shutout, 8. Raritan is a very good scoring team who got you guys the week before the playoffs. Then just 8 points last week, especially in that middle stretch where you went single digits and then had the shutout. What did you see from the defense where they just really started clicking?
Well, up front, our D linemen, Namir Jones, Xavier, Jackson Whittaker, Mike Furlong, all these guys up front do a tremendous job, and we have a good linebacking core. And they're allowed to just flow and make plays. And our secondary, which people don't talk about, Aiden Scatoro, Alex Kramer, and Park Fegan, they're outstanding.
Yeah.
And they're all tall, they're long, they run. So we have the pieces there. And we knew as the year went on, if we stay healthy, we're going to make a real run for this. And that's what's happening.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I worked the Barnegat game, okay? Yeah. Right in the middle there. I think that sort of turned your season also, in the middle of that 6-game winning streak. You had to face one of the leading backs, the early season leading backs in Vivens for Barnegat, who came in very highly rated and very highly ranked.
Yes.
You pretty much stopped them cold.
Their whole team had less than 100 yards for the day on offense.
Yes, I know.
So we shut them down.
I saw it. I loved the way you played defense. And,
Jamie had a nice hit at one point. He might have got a penalty, but sometimes it's worth it. I can't officially say that, but sometimes it's worth it.
You just did, I think.
He laid him out.
Look, you mentioned the name, Kaz, and I'll ask Andrew about him. He's a player. I cover lacrosse, too, in the spring, so I saw a lot of him on the lacrosse field when he was, I believe, a freshman last year. But Jackson Whittaker, a really talented sophomore. You look at the numbers. I think he's got like 10 tackles for a loss. Seems like he's always in the backfield making a play. Just how about a player like that, one of those young players that you guys have, and he's made a big impact? Yeah,
he's had such a big impact on our team. And we knew coming in he was going to be one of the kids that wouldn't get a lot of hype because most short kids never really get that much hype coming into the year. But we knew he was going to be a key part of our defense. I mean, you see the stats. He gets sacks. He helps out our secondary a lot because he gets the QB in 2 seconds. Then whenever you play the option teams, you see the stats. He's got 15 tackles, hitting the fullback. He always does his job. Just a good player. He always shows up, so we could count on that kid. And it's just crazy coming from a sophomore. Usually you see most of those kids sometimes back down, but not him. He's definitely one of the special players coming out of Shore.
And as a linebacker, when you have those guys up front who can not just take up space and eat blocks and all those stuff you want guys to do, but like make plays, they command double teams. That makes your life a lot easier in that second level, huh?
Oh yeah, it makes it so much easier because when you have a kid that especially is he's never getting pushed back, you could see so much more. It opens up the field a lot more, and then when he also helps you cover the outside, you're not as stressed out. So then I don't have to worry about having contain all the time, and I could come in, make more plays. So it just makes my life a lot easier.
Nothing like that front working in tandem, huh?
Yep. Oz, give us a 2-minute rundown on Woodstown, your opponent this week.
All right. We have a lot of film on them. We've broken down every single play. They're a very good team. They're well coached. You can tell they're a wing T team, but they're running it out of the pistol. And we're a wing T team. We do more gun because we have Jamie. Very similar type teams. It's going to be a good game. I mean, they're coming to us. And that's a big deal. But they're well coached, and they're a hard-nosed team.
I'll throw a couple numbers out. My colleague Mark Tribble, who covers South Jersey football so well, the Glory Days podcast and some work down there. Woodstown last week in their playoff win, 34 carries for 337 yards. You guys last week, 35 carries for 334 yards. I mean, you guys are going to run the ball. This game might take 50 minutes in real time. But you mentioned they run it out of the pistol. But when you see the concept of some of the things they do, it is sometimes like looking in the mirror. And in a way, who knows how to better defend the wing tee than someone who's ran the wing tee forever.
Yeah, they run belly. They run sweep. They run little option, which we love. We used to run.
Do you see that as well on film? Just stuff where you go, hey, man, we see that every day in practice.
Yeah, I mean, our coaches prepare us. Kaz literally showed us every single play they run. And it's all the stuff we do, so we should know how to defend it. And I think if we just approach it like we approached every other game, just hit hard, hit fast, then we should be able to stop the run at least.
I was just going to say, Andrew, what about the fans and the school? Last year, I think you were 4-2 last year, and of course, no state championship involved, no state playoffs involved. But you're playing again with a handful of fans in the stands. This year, you're packing the stands. Everybody's there. The school is pumped. Tell us about the difference there.
Yeah, it makes such a big difference because the atmosphere at Shore, it's great. I mean, we have 500 kids in the school, and 400 of them are at the game. So definitely brings up our energy. The crowd helps everyone. I mean, it'll definitely make us have a better game, and it'll get us hyped up for it. So it always works to our favor.
Guys, he's great. We might have him on every week just to talk about random stuff.
Very good. Andrews is so intelligent. He's like a coach on the field.
Put a lot of pressure on Jamie here.
Oh, Jamie's
coming on in a couple minutes.
He's shaking his head there. He's eating his burger. I know.
Don't let Ed. Ed's honest with that. But with that, we'll take a break right now. We'll let Andrew go. We'll bring Jamie on in a couple minutes. Guys, you got to stay here and keep talking to us. But
all right.
Andrew, first of all, thanks a lot for coming down and talking some football with us. Great season so far. Hope you guys keep it going.
Yep, thanks for having me.
That's Andrew Decker, senior running back and linebacker captain for the Blue Devils. We'll take a quick break. Andrew will leave. Jamie Mizako will come on. Kaz stays here with us, and we'll talk some more Shore Regional football here on the Varsity Link Coaches Corner on the Shore Sports. We are back here at River Rock Restaurant and Marina Bar in Brick. It's middle of November, but it's a really nice night here out on the water. We're out here under the tent, and it's pretty good out here, so can't complain. We roll on here with the Week 11 Varsity Link Coaches Corner. For more information on Varsity Link, head to www.varsitylink.com. Download their app on the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. It's the Athletes Social Media Network, so be sure to check those guys out. Doing some great things. Also want to talk about our Block Game Day Countdown feature, brought to us by the Butcher Block Restaurant in Long Branch. Every week, every Friday night, we'll be at a game in the Shore Conference. We haven't decided where we're going to go Friday night, so stay tuned for that. We'll put that up on the website. But find the Shore Sports Network SUV, find our guy Steve Meyer, and make sure you sign up. You can win dinner for 6 with limousine transportation to the Butcher's Block in table. Newly I'm going to say renovated because I don't really have a better word right now, but it's a complete teardown, basically, other than the structure there. One of their owners, Tommy D'Ambrisi, former Monmouth Regional quarterback, standout at Kane University, big supporter of Shore Conference football, and those guys are excited about their reopening and certainly excited about this contest. So no purchase necessary. Find the Shore Sports Network SUV. Sign up. You might win dinner for 6 to one of the hottest restaurants in the Shore. With that, we'll return to our conversation on Shore Regional Football. Head coach Mark Costantino still with us, and we welcome in senior two-way standout captain Jamie Mizako. Jamie, sorry I had to interrupt your meal there for a little bit, but it's not going anywhere. So thank you again for coming down and talking to us on a Wednesday night. You got a playoff game Friday night. We touched on a lot of the stuff with Andrew, but with you, how exciting is it? I mean, you're a senior, and here you are. You're playing in a playoff semifinal. Like, you're right where you wanted to be in the beginning of the season when you thought about your goals. And here it is. It's all in front of you, and it continues on Friday night.
Yeah, 100%. You know, we said it early last week. We hadn't had a home playoff game since 2016. Wow. 2015 when we won the state championship. 2016 was the last time we had a home playoff game rather than a semifinal game. So in my 4 years, never. And a lot of the older, seniors last year never had the opportunity. So it's quite the opportunity we got.
I'll let you ask the next question, but I'm going to read off some numbers. Jamie has had one of the best seasons of any player in the Shore Conference, and here's why. 1,459 yards rushing, 23 touchdowns, almost 7 yards a carry, 497 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 62 tackles, 4 for a loss, an interception, a forced fumble, 24 of 28 on extra points, 2 for 2 on field goals, 36.5 yards average on punt. No truth to the rumor they made him make that burger and the fries in the back.
He drove me here.
The old joke about him driving the bus and all that stuff. But in all seriousness, Kyle's like, he has done so much for this team. When you talk about an invaluable player, I mean, he fits that to a T. And you're riding the hot hand. You do it every week. Like, I've run out of ways to describe his games in the weekly scoreboard. it's every week. It's 200-something, 3, 4, 5 touchdowns.
Listen,
It's been special to watch.
When you play us, excuse me, you know he's getting the ball. He's quarterback. We put him in the eye. We move him around. Really, I think he's a better defensive player. On defense, he's all over the field. He makes tackles, play anywhere in the field. He can long snap. He punts. He plays kicks. Does everything. I can't even tell you. So we built our package around him. But then Andrew, Pat Kelly, Lucas Rosa, our receivers, all those other guys have grown around him. So we can – it's not just him now. It's these other guys that they're just enough where you can't really worry. And he throws the ball. We have 3 guys who – well, Jackson and Mike, Furlong, they catch. We have a bunch of guys that can catch the ball. And we'll throw deep on first down all year. We don't care anymore. Yeah. We just let it rip and deal with it. You want to pack the box, we're going deep.
And I know you're humble because I'm reading that and you're kind of turning away like you don't want to hear your accolades. But from your perspective, you're relied on so much. Like, do you like it in the sense where you can get in the groove? Like, you're just getting the ball, and it just becomes like a repetition. Like, okay, I'll take it and let's move the ball here.
We plan all week, and Thursdays are whatever we're running in the game. But when it comes down to it, if it's the middle of the second quarter and we're not moving the ball, he might say, hey, screw it. Screw that game plan. We're going here. And I'm extremely grateful to have 4 other guys in the backfield that comply and do their job and know their job so that we're able to do that. So no matter where I am on the field, I know I got 4 and even 10 other guys that are going to comply, and we're going to run the ball down your throat.
So, Kaz, I'm at the Barnegat game, okay? Yes. And, I like to roam the sidelines.
I saw you there.
And I don't know how you could, because most of the time you're on the hash.
Yeah, I know.
Yelling at somebody. Usually it's an official or a player or whoever.
I'm very calm.
Not Kaz.
But anyway, I finally got a time where you came back to the sideline. Must have been a timeout or something. So I went up to you and I said, hey, Mizako, I thought he was a quarterback. What's going on? I see him at the tail.
We put him in the eye. That was the week we put in the eye.
I know. You said, no, I put a little bit in the eye last week, and we liked it so much, so a lot of game, he ran out of the eye there and over 200 yards. The rest is history.
Well,
What decided that?
Well, he's an eye back, and we felt that we didn't have another quarterback. Luckily, we have a young man named Ty Koch who moved in from Monmouth Regional, can play quarterback part-time. But our offensive line is so young. We have a couple standouts, but Namir, but we didn't know we'd be able to run the eye. So we didn't know what we were going to be able to do. So by the time we got to that game, I felt very good about running belly and buck and power, and we're really running like 4 plays.
Toss
rock.
Toss was the big play that game.
Rocket toss,
sure.
And just change formations, and that's what we did.
Jamie mentioned it, that even sometimes mid-game you're like, okay, this isn't working, just let's scrap that.
Yeah, we always have plan B and C.
Yeah, and obviously you have to make in-game adjustments. That's kind of the nature of coaching. But just in terms of the offense in general, like you guys forever have been a wing T team.
Yep.
You're under center, but you said this year you're in the shotgun, you're doing some things different. How important is that year to year to just, look, this is our personnel and we're going to play to that? Because it seems like teams can, especially that run an offense like you run, can fall into that trap of, hey, this is the way we do it, and we're just going to force it every year.
We've been shotgun for probably 5-6 years, and depending on how well the quarterback runs is how much we'll do. So we have a whole stack of things we're going to do. It's just the way it is. Now, we have how many formations we run, but you throw that into the mix with the motions. It's wing T, but it's out of the gun, under center. And a lot of people don't run the wing T anymore, so when you come up and just line up in a straight old 100 formation, they don't know what to do. You run buck sweep. The Olds play in the hills. People can't defend it. They're so used to spread football, tippy-tap things, and we're just like whacking you, and we're whacking you. And we're running power sweep down your throat. Well, deal with it now.
Whoever can – you guys have run that out of the shotgun for the last 5 years. If you can speak to this, do. If not, you can step in. But what are some of the differences as a quarterback in terms of if you're under center running that wing T where you're in shotgun? It just seems like maybe in that shotgun you kind of survey things a little better. Are there differences that you tend to see, being in the shotgun running that?
Yeah, without a doubt. It's a half second longer to make a read, which is, in a game of football, it's angles and inches and even half seconds. So that half second is huge. One guy comes up to the line, I'm 3 yards back to make a cut rather than right on the line. So it plays a huge role.
Jamie, you have so much support at Shore Regional. First of all, you got one of the nicest facilities in the Shore.
Without a
When they
doubt.
put that field in, immediately you had an all-shore classic
Right.
over the summer at Shore Regional, okay? Bobby mentioned a small school program, but not in relationship to what is going on there at Shore Regional. Tremendous facility. You have a lot of backing in school. I'm sure Kaz has told you, your principal was an all-state football player, and
Mr.
you know
D, yeah.
he's backing
Our
you.
good friend.
You
Vinny
know he's
Dalcadillo.
backing you, and a tremendous football player, and he passes that on to Kaz, and he allows him and the coaches to do their thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the culture at Shore, like Kaz touched on it earlier, it's a winning culture. You have fall sports teams that we win. Our girls soccer team just made it to the sectional final. Our field hockey just won it yesterday.
Cross country, the girls cross country won it.
So, I mean, when you have 600 kids in the school and 250 of them are playing fall sports, and are successful, it makes it that much easier. Everybody's focused on their sport. There's not a whole lot that's not going on on our sports facilities. So it makes it that much easier to be successful.
And the NJSIA every year, they have that ShopRite Cup, which recognizes schools in all the group sizes based on how many championships they win. And you guys, like every year, you're either first or second in Group 1. I think that speaks volumes to just the athletic prowess of the school in general. Woodstown, coming up Friday night. It's a wing T team. They run the same offense you do. Do it a little bit differently, as we mentioned. But what are some of the challenges that you see when you're scouting them, and things they do well and things you're going to have to stop come Friday night?
Looking at Woodstown on film, it's like looking in the mirror a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of what we do. Their line's big. Their QB's he's an athlete, and they're defensively. You see their scores. They play teams very tough. So it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a great game, and I look forward to it.
Jamie, you do everything on the football field. Do you ever get tired at the end of the game? Do you hop in the whirlpool immediately when you get in the locker room?
If I'm not tired, it means
didn't work hard enough?
I didn't put anything.
There was one time this
so.
year.
There you
There
go.
was a timeout or something, and we're talking, and he couldn't even breathe. I go, "You got to come out of the game." He goes, "No," I said, "You're not getting the ball." Like he literally was drenched. He's dirty, and he's like, I'm like,
Look, he's a wrestler. Wrestlers
that's
don't
what I'm
get tired.
saying. He's a
Most of
warrior.
them-
He's a
most of them
warrior.
don't
But
get
I'm like,
tired.
I'll give you one play break.
Too funny.
Jamie, now for the important questions.
Oh, Ed's favorite.
Oh, here we go.
A lot of camaraderie on this team, Shore Regional. You're close. You said you're not a big bunch, but you're close.
Oh, great.
You have dinners like pasta parties and stuff.
Every Thursday
I
night.
heard you ask Donovan Catholic this. I watched it yesterday.
No, he has asked the same question
Every Thursday
to
night.
every guest we've had on for the last
our
7 years.
listeners,
So.
I heard this question come
So
up.
did you get prepared for it?
I did.
Who don't you want to be behind in the pasta party? Because by the time you get there, the food might be gone.
If he's watching, I hope he's watching. Namir, he's a big guy on the line, and he can eat. So
Yeah. But he lost a lot of weight.
he has
Namir looks good.
because he works hard, but
Yeah.
he still can eat.
But the seniors always go first when we had the pasta
of
like
course.
tomorrow night.
Of
Well, the
course.
coaches kind of go first, but then the seniors go.
Just once, I want to hear somebody be like, you know what? It's like the punter.
Yeah.
The kid who's like 5'6", like one.
Well, he's the
I
punter.
wanna
He's
hear
the
that one
punter
time.
and the kicker.
Well, it's not. I do that.
if it's
So
not
he goes
Namir,
first.
it's probably me.
Yeah.
I want to say, if I'm wrong on this, I apologize, Cole Kozlowski, but I think it was when we had Manasquan on, they were talking about it, and then afterwards he goes, actually, if I was being honest, it's probably me, but I just didn't want to say that. If it wasn't you, Cole, I apologize, but I think it was
Nah,
somebody we had on was
Our
like,
quarterback
actually,
club does a tremendous job, and every week they feed the players, and Saturday mornings they bring bagels in for the films and stuff. Yeah, it's great.
See, I'd like it. Somebody that watched last week's or 2 weeks ago show. He's prepared.
Look, he's a student of the game. He's watching film. He's watching film on you, Ed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they studying you, Ed.
No, they didn't even have film back then.
It was all on reel to reel.
Yeah. 16 millimeter. You remember that?
Oh,
For a while,
I missed that kind of. Yeah, I like that stuff.
you got to go to the library for that stuff now. The three-sport athlete for a while was everything, and then for a while it went away, and we had that specialization phase. I think it's coming back, and you're not going to find a better example than Jamie. An all-shore, all-state caliber football player. Same thing in wrestling, and an all-shore lacrosse player as well. Just how about having a player like that on your team where he's succeeded in all three
Let
seasons?
me tell you, he's an exceptional athlete. in my 30 years of coaching football, he's probably, if I can't say the best, I can say the best. He's the top 1, 2, or 3. There's like 3 guys who are there, and he's right there. Who I ever coached is him because he does everything. He's a leader. He's positive. He's humble. When you walk through the hallways, he talks to everybody. He's just wonderful. So just the fact that he plays other sports, I go watch him play all the time. I go to every wrestling match. I go to lacrosse. I enjoy watching him play. And the college coaches want these kids playing more than one sport. You try and tell some of these parents,
Good point.
don't worry about fall ball. Stop. It doesn't matter. Go play football. You can still play baseball. They don't get it. But he gets it. His family gets it. And it's a pleasure to coach. Like, he does whatever you want. And I don't have to worry about it.
And the ultimate team player, too. And I know
Yes.
this because the way last season went and you have the overlap of seasons. I mean, you wrestled for your team in wrestling. I know the individual season came up, and you were going to be ranked like top 2 or 3 in the super region. You said, you know what, it's lacrosse season. Like, I know lacrosse is probably like your main sport. You correct me if I'm wrong, but you said, hey, I'm going to go to lacrosse season. And obviously you had a great season there. Are you excited because the calendar is back normal and wrestling, like, if you want to go all the way, you can do that.
Yeah.
It's not going to overlap, and
Right.
you have a chance in your senior year to compete for district, region, state titles.
Yeah. That's huge. I mean, last year it was tough because I have Porta, and he was very invested in my postseason. But I saw the potential in our lacrosse season, and last year we matched the best program in history. But for the first 2 weeks, there was an overlap, and I was doing doubles because my wrestling partner, Mike McGee, did not have a wrestling partner. So if I left, he wouldn't have a wrestling partner. So I stayed. I would wrestle with Mike after lacrosse practice, and I'm like, I love this. Like, if I'm not doing that, I'm sitting in my room, bugging my parents, bugging my little brother. So it's good. And then now to have the chance to make it all worth it, it's going to be awesome.
Jamie, I was just going to say, college is on the horizon, I'm sure. What are we looking at here? Are we looking at individual sport, or you don't know yet?
That's a good question. I'm blessed to have a lot of opportunities. So, best school will comply with best sport.
And obviously, you're focused on your game, but on the side, too, are you kind of looking out and see what Long Branch is doing? Your uncle is Danny George, the head coach, longtime head coach at Long Branch. His last season, of course, we had those guys on a while ago. You kind of looking over there, see what Uncle Danny and those guys are
absolutely.
doing?
It's his last year, for 18 years he's been my uncle, and all Thanksgiving's him playing football. So now the two of us, it's how's Uncle Danny doing, it's how's Jamie doing. So it's good to see we're both competing.
I'll tell you what, this has been one of one of my favorite shows of the year, one of the best shows we've had. I mean, these two guys, Kaz, you brought on today, not only tremendous football players, great ambassadors for your program, for your
quality
school.
young men. Quality young men.
This has been fun. I feel like we could do another hour probably, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
But, we only get an hour. So we got to jump
thank
in
you.
and talk about the
having
games
us.
coming up.
Yes.
We'll do that in a minute. But really, thank you guys for coming down. A pleasure talking football with you guys. And like I said to Ed before, we're all out of conference teams now, so we can just blatantly root. So let's go Blue Devils.
Thank you.
Waving the blue pom-poms on Friday night.
We can't wait.
Jamie, thanks again for coming down.
Thank you for having me.
That's Jamie Mizako and Mark Costantino, and also thanks to Andrew Decker for coming down. We'll take a quick break. Ed and I will come back and preview, again, really quickly, the Week 11 semifinal and quarterfinal playoff games coming up. Back here at River Rock Restaurant and Marina Bar in Brick final 5 minutes or so of the Week 11 Varsity Link Coaches Corner. For more on our sponsor, Varsity Link, head to www.varsitylink.com or download their app on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. It's the Athletes social media network, helping athletes advance their recruitment opportunities and also coaches' interaction. So those guys are doing great things over there. Varsity Link, powered by Asylum Sports Center over there in Wall. So check those guys out. And also the Block Game Day Countdown. Make sure to check out Shore Sports Network. Tomorrow we'll have our promo up detailing which game we'll be at. Find the Shore Sports Network SUV. Sign up to win dinner for 6 at the Butcher's Block and Table in Long Branch. We're on to Week 12. 12 games, 12 teams left, so 12 games on the schedule. We'll go down real quick, Ed. RBC, only 8 teams in that bracket, and one less round because there's no semifinal game in the group. So Red Bank Catholic will host Morris Catholic. RBC, they've had 2 weeks to stew on that loss to Donovan Catholic. I would expect a dominant performance out of the Cases.
Yes, I'd make them the favorite in that bracket.
You have a really good DePaul team.
Yeah, I
number
understand.
One, but
I understand.
RBC's right in.
Yes.
It's certainly a chance to
and
win
they will have to
title.
go to DePaul.
We talking about Tomsworth hosting Edison. That's Friday night, 7 o'clock at Gernert Field. Middletown South home to Sayreville in the North 2 Group 4 semifinals. Long Branch away at Ocean City. That's a 10-0 Ocean City team. It's only allowed 42 points all season, so it's going to be a big challenge for that Long Branch offense. But if they can get it going with Christian Rodriguez and start airing that should be a fun game there down right in front of the boardwalk. Central Jersey Group 3, Rumson hosting Burlington Township. Rumson, 6 sectional titles, and they've all come in about the last 12 years. So Rumson looking for title number 7. I think they're the heavy favorite in that bracket.
I agree.
We'll see how they look against a Burlington Township team that is, 8-1, has played very good football this season.
Yeah, Rumson 6, 1 behind our guest tonight, Shore Regional.
Yeah, exactly. And you go number 1 in the Shore, most sectional titles, Manasquan with 12, Middletown South with 10. Then you have 3 teams tied with 7, a few more tied with 6. And you go on down the line. As you mentioned at the top, the Delsey Wall game canceled. In Central Jersey Group 2, Hillside visits top seed Raritan. Raritan got the number 1 seed only with a 4-4 record. I mean, the win over Shore certainly helped them to get that seed, but shows the schedule they've played. Hillside's a tough team. They have a couple losses on their schedule where you look at it and you say, Raritan, can definitely win this game. I mean, you think they're the clear favorite as the 1 seed. Not the case. Hillside is a tough team. They've given our Shore Conference teams, namely Point Brewer and Manasquan, a lot of trouble in recent seasons. That'll be a difficult one for the Rockets. But as they've shown, they can score on pretty much anybody. And if their defense comes to play, that's a team that can make a big-time run.
Three guys over 100 yards in their win on Friday night.
You do that in an option offense, whether it be a wing tee or a flex bone, you're feeling pretty good. So, and Anthony Petruzzi and his guys, look, I'll never count them out. When you go back to the season, they knocked off as they were, under 500, made the playoffs, went all the way to the final, beat a juggernaut Lincoln team to win a championship. So can never count the Rockets out. Point Borough home to New Providence in the South Jersey Group 2 semifinals. I talked to head coach Brian Staub. I mean, he was thrilled with the performance, even though they put up 34 points. Said a lot to clean up. New Providence is a tough team. And look, that's the kind of attitude you have that this time of year. You're going to go in, you're going to prepare even more. If they have that triple option going, there hasn't been a team that's been able to stop them yet. So it really comes out of that. Crisp on offense, they'll be in the finals.
Yeah, Al Sainer Field will be busy the next 2 weeks.
Shore and Woodstown, as we mentioned, the other semifinal game on Friday. 3 games on Saturday. Donovan at Bergen Catholic. As we talked about, Colts Neck travels to Winslow Township. A 7 o'clock game on Saturday night going from Colts Neck to Winslow. It's a long drive. Colts Neck used to play on Saturdays, just at noon, not at night. So we'll see if the Cougars can keep the good vibes going. And lastly, Manasquan at Woodrow Wilson. Tough game. I think it's a very winnable game for Manasquan, especially with the way they're playing lately. They really come on strong. Don't forget, Manasquan's only 2 losses are by 3 points to Middletown South in the opening game, and they got blown out by Red Bank Catholic, but apples to oranges there. So
yeah, that's a tough place to play. Believe me, I know. Matter of fact, when I was at Brick Memorial, we went down to play Woodrow Wilson.
Oh, I know this story.
A couple of times, and the last time we played him, we had him beat. It was in the playoffs, and we had a injury to our quarterback, a fluke injury, and ended up losing that game. And there was a big brawl and fight after the game, of which yours truly got knocked out in that fight.
Out?
Yes,
Cold?
out.
Man, I love getting new news from Ed on the coach's corner.
On the sideline. Somebody hit me from the blind side. But anyway,
not find a deep dive on
easy.
that.
Luckily, we had police in attendance. They had police in attendance. It's never the football team or the players.
No.
It's always the crowds that get into it. But
Ed setting a great tone for the Manasquan Woodrow Wilson game
not an
coming up on
easy,
Saturday.
not an easy place to play. But Manasquan, like I said, riding high right now. I think they could really make a challenge for the finals.
Certainly the Warriors playing well. That's going to do it for us tonight. Also, a handful of consolation games this weekend, too. Make sure to check shoresportsnetwork.com for the schedule. The scoreboards will be up for the regional crossover games and, of course, the state playoff games. Want to thank our guests from Shore Regional, head coach Mark Costantino, and their outstanding, well-spoken, great representatives of their school, their seniors, Jamie Mizako and Andrew Decker. For Steve Meyer behind the camera, Tom Tremblay, our engineer, and Ed Sarluca, I'm Bob Adders. Thanks for watching the Varsity